Navigating the U.S. legal system isn't easy for anyone, but now there's a push to help the Latino community deal with legal issues. The American Bar Association has just announced it's setting up the Commission on Hispanic Legal Rights. The commission will study whether the legal system is addressing the needs of the country's largest minority. And we have two guests joining us this morning to talk about it. Stephen Zach is the president of the American Bar Association, and to his right, Carmen Segarra is the former regional president of the Hispanic National Bar Association. Un placer. Thank you both for being with us.
Thank you.
Gracias.
The announcement was just made. When will the commission actually be in place? If all goes well. It is in place.
It was announced 2 days ago.
It was announced 2 days ago. The background that led into this, what was the discussion at the American Bar Association where you said to yourselves, you know what, we need to do this and here's why?
Well, after 130 years, I was fortunate enough to be elected as the first Hispanic president of the American Bar Association.
Congratulations.
And it was time.
Yeah.
It was past time, to tell you the truth. We have only 3% of the lawyers in America as Hispanic Americans. 20% of the population is Hispanic America.
And did you find that the legal needs of Latinos were not being met?
Well, they can't be met unless our profession looks like the communities we service. And we are very underrepresented in the Latino community. So the idea of the commission is to look at all aspects of the legal system and how it relates to Hispanics. Starting with law schools. We don't have enough law students. We don't have enough law professors. That means we don't end up having enough lawyers.
Right.
If we don't have enough lawyers, we don't have enough Hispanic judges. And you can understand how this builds on each other. And we know that for the public to respect us as a profession, we have to do something about it. And that's what the commission's doing.
That's pretty comprehensive. I mean, that's a long way to go. It needs to be done, granted, but it sounds like you've got some big jobs ahead of you in terms of reaching out to people, getting more students, getting more law schools, etc.
We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, okay. In terms of New York, this is fantastic news, is it not? I mean, you must be jumping up and down.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
It's great news. As former regional president of the New York region for the Hispanic National Bar Association, I can tell you we have close to 1.5 million Hispanics in the region. And if you do the math, as he said before, we've got 30,000 Hispanic attorneys in the country. I mean, all across the country. You've got 1.5 million Hispanics here. The numbers are just so stark, so clear, and we are overwhelmed at the Hispanic National Bar Association with requests from everywhere. Please, be at this panel, help us with, drumming up interest at the high school level, at the junior level, with college students, even with students not dropping out of law school when we do get them to be interested. And we have such a need at all levels, whether it has to do with voting or just, the daily life, getting a parking ticket. It's a nightmare.
And Carmen, do you find that the figures that he quoted are pretty much the same when you break them down locally, that in terms of the number and the percentage of Latino lawyers in the New York metropolitan area, it's not where it should be? It's not what it should be. The numbers are very similar. There are about 100,000 attorneys in New York, and it breaks down pretty much the same way. Yeah.
So we're talking,
and in New York, which is a large metropolitan area with many, many Latinos, it probably needs to be even higher than in some places.
3,000 attorneys for 1.5 million people. It's not enough.
Where will the commission begin, Stephen, in terms of studying and focusing its attention?
Well, we're going to have public hearings. One's going to be here in New York. Okay. And people will have an opportunity to express their experiences in the legal community, whether it be in court or just accessing the legal system.
And what will you do with the information you get out of those public hearings?
Eventually, it will go to the ABA House of Delegates, which will pass resolutions. Those resolutions actually then are put into law, and hopefully we get those laws adopted by the Congress. We have an office in Washington with lobbyists on staff who will then lobby for these different laws that we pass.
Carmen, if you were at one of those public hearings here in the Bronx or in Brooklyn, what are some of the things you think people might say that they should be aware of?
If I was at one of those hearings, I would say, please, 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 work on the immigration reform, work on voting rights reform, work on translation reform, work on notarial fraud, which are all issues which the Commission is already contemplating that they need to do work on.
Notarial fraud is very interesting because we have a Spanish language website on
Notary fraud,
notario.
yeah.
Notario fraud, because as you know,
Which
notario,
is what? Notario fraud.
notario fraud, notario in South America is vastly different than going in and paying a couple $100 and getting a stamp.
Right.
So particularly today, where people are filling out, for example, immigration forms, if they get the wrong information because they use the wrong people to fill out those forms, it may make it so they can never become a citizen. It's a very, very serious problem, and the consequences are very serious.
Does it tie in any way to what Puerto Rico was doing in trying to issue new birth certificates because of the fraud that had been taking place with old birth certificates? You would know better than...
Yes, that is exactly right. It ties into that. Puerto Rico was a target of a vast fraud network. All those birth certificates were being forged without the knowledge of citizens in Puerto Rico, and the government had to actually step in and issue completely new birth certificate. Everybody who's a citizen there has to request new birth certificates.
So that's one large example of one of the things that you guys will be focusing on.
And you see in Miami, you walk down A Street or drive down A Street and you see notario on every building. And that means something completely different.
Trouble. Sit tight. When we come back, we'll talk more about this issue, helping Latinos from a legal perspective here on Tiempo when we come right back. Welcome back to Tiempo this morning. We're talking about the new Latino, the Commission on Hispanic Legal Rights. Brand new, set up for the first time, and here made a special trip from Miami. Thank you, Stephen Zach, the president of the American Bar Association. And you know what? Congratulations. Latino Attorney of 2010, given to you from the Hispanic National Bar Association. Way to go.
Appreciate that.
That's fantastic. Illustrate for us in terms of numbers and statistically what this country, what you're seeing in terms of the number of Latinos who are reaching voting age.
Well, the best way to understand it is for the next 20 years,
2 decades,
every month, 50,000 Hispanic Americans will turn 18 years of age. Imagine what that's going to do to the demographics of our country. And by 2050, 1 out of every 3 Americans will have some kind of Hispanic heritage as part of their family background.
And from a focus on the commission specifically, what does that illustrate? What does that tell you that you need to do?
Well, it tells you that we have no time to waste to integrate the Hispanic community into the American legal system.
No time to waste, because Latinos are impatient, right? You know, it's one thing to talk about all the wonderful things that the commission want to do, but Latinos want to see action, correct? How does that play a role in making sure that the right people get involved here, Carmen?
Look, the right people need to get involved. The commission is an excellent opportunity. They will yield actionable items, and the community needs to get involved by, number one, getting behind it. You know, when there's a result and the commission says we need to translate all legal documents into Spanish, people need to demand it, you know, and we need to get behind it. Number two, culturally, we need to get behind having Hispanos and Hispanas become attorneys. It needs, bottom line, it needs to be okay for a girl to go to law school. And people need to hold that up as an example and encourage it, as opposed to not encourage
We need more wise Latinas.
Yes, bottom line.
The fact of the matter is that as few Hispanics that are in the legal profession, only a quarter of them are women. So in law schools today, over 50% of law students are women. So we need more Hispanic women going to law school.
Can you ride the coattails of Sonia Sotomayor's success a little bit in doing just that?
I think everyone is very proud of what she's accomplished, and I think it tells us that there is nothing that is limited to the Latino community.
I want to focus real quick on the commission itself. How many members, and share with me 1 or 2 people who are on it that everyone might know.
Well, there's going to be 20 on the commission, on the advisory board as well.
Okay.
And we have people like Emilio Estefan, who isn't a lawyer, but he is so interested in this area and feels it's so important.
We've got a picture of him with his wife there, which many people will recognize as well.
They're wonderful members of the Miami community and of the world community. And one of the 2 of them have spoken out on this need time and again, and Emilio's agreed to help us in this regard. We also have Cesar Alvarez, who is the managing partner of one of the largest law firms in the world, and is a Latino who understands these issues. One
organization we work with quite a bit here in New York City, PERLDEF, Puerto Rican Legal Defense and Education Fund, as well as the Mexican-American Legal Defense and Education Fund. Are they involved or part of this?
We're going to have representation of every aspect of the Latino community.
And the 20 members on the commission, I would assume, are scattered from around the country?
All over the country, both men and women, both sides of the aisle, and we're very, very excited what it's going to accomplish.
Okay, bueno, fantastic. Thank you both. Again, thanks for coming up, making a special trip from Miami. Carmen, un placer. Good to see you.
Thank you.